You see, before the Camino I had standards. Now I eat the tuna from the can and air dry my underwear on my backpack, proudly. This is a day number 13 on Camino de Santiago, the Portuguese way. And so far I've walked more than 250 kilometers, and also so far I've done things I swore I would never do. Not because I'm just a different person right now, but simply the Camino rewrites the definition of normal. So today we're gonna talk about things that I swore I would never do until Camino made me to do all of them. All.
Some mornings, the Camino tests your willpower before you even touch the trail. You wake up to the sound of zippers, footsteps, and someone coughing in 6 different languages. You roll over, promise yourself just 5 more minutes, and somehow those 5 minutes become the hardest part of the day. When you finally sit up, the real negotiation begins. You look at your clothes, yesterday's shirts, yesterday's socks. Could I? Should I? Before the Camino, I used to laugh at the idea of re-wearing clothes. Now, I inspect them like a sacred artifacts. I sniff the shed with professional focus. Still within the acceptable range of the human survival. And then I put it back on. Because honestly, what's one more day? There is something strangely liberating about that surrender. Just stop performing. You stop needing to impress anyone. You just get dressed, grab your coffee, and walk out the door. Feeling lighter, not because your bag weighs less, but because your ego does. The Camino teaches me really quickly. Cleanliness fades, simplicity stays. By the mid-morning, I'm deep in the forest that smells like wet soil and eucalyptus. The trail disappears, reappears, and disappears again. Every few minutes I stop, I look around, I think, am I on the Camino? I'm kind of a new survival documentary. Eventually, a yellow arrow shows up, like an old friend, and I exhale relieved. At least, I'm lost in the right direction. A few kilometers later, I reach a fountain. There is a stone bench, birds singing, sunlight filtering through the leaves, and that's when the sacred moment arrives. I take my shoes off. At first, it feels almost criminal. Public filth in daylight. But then, the cool air hits the skin and all guilt evaporates. I stretch my toes, tilt my head back, and feel a kind of relief no spa could ever sell. And you know the best part? Nobody stares, nobody judges, because everyone here is just as broken and blistered as you are. The Camino doesn't care if you are graceful, it just wants you to keep walking however you can. And for the moment, sitting there with shoes off, you realize something quietly profound. Freedom doesn't always feel grand. Sometimes it feels like letting your feet breathe. By the time noon arrives, I stop looking for restaurants. Somewhere between the villages, I accept that the Camino's real dining room is whatever patch of grass you can sit on without being attacked by ants. Today's lunch is, well, let's call it minimalist. A single slice of cheese. The kind that started solid in the morning and has now melted itself into a sort of philosophical soup. I sit down, open my spork and look into it with the reverence of a fine meal. A normal person might throw it away. A pilgrim looks at it and thinks, this is destiny. So there I am, sitting in the middle of nowhere, eating semi-liquid cheese with a spork, and I swear, it's one of the best meals of my life. When you're this tired, flavor isn't what matters. It's the act itself. You're eating because you've earned it. You've carried the cheese for hours. You've waited for that moment and the Camino rewards it. not with perfection, but with peace. And now I'm curious, what's the weirdest or most unexpected thing you've done on the Camino or any other long journey? Something that you would make no sense back home but felt perfectly right out there. Because sometimes losing your standards is exactly how you find yourself. After 13 days, I've accepted that my backpack is basically a living creature. It has moods, it has opinions. Some days it floats like air, others it's a personal grudge in fabric form. I talk to it constantly. Come on, we've been through worst. Not today. Why are you heavy when I literally ate all that food? It doesn't answer, but it listens. And in the silence between our arguments, I realized that this bag knows more about me than most people do. It's carried my exhaustion, my tiny victories, my half clean shirts, and probably some of my emotional baggage too. You see, you fight, you forgive, and you keep walking. It's the purest relationship there is. You carry each other through everything. Sometimes I catch myself giving it a little pat on the side, like thanking a friend for not giving up. And that's when I know I have officially lost it. But I also never felt more human. And before the Camino, I used to think simplicity was something you designed. A lifestyle, a color palette, a Pinterest board. But out here, simplicity isn't design, it's earned. It's the moment you realize that one spoon, one shirt, one half melted cheese is all you really need. At first, it feels like losing control, like falling behind the standards you once had. But the longer you walk, the lighter it feels. Because what's falling away isn't your control, it's your pretense. And slowly, something shifts. You stop measuring progress in kilometers and start measuring it in peace. The Camino strips you down, but what it leaves, it's what's real. A little sweat, a little dust, a little sense, and the sense that you finally belong to yourself again. And by the time I reach the albergue, I'm beyond tired. The kind of tired that zips into the bones but still feels honest. I drop my backpack, lie flat on the bed, and begin the nightly ceremony. Smell the socks, smell the shirt, smell the towel. It's like a survival game. Which one can stay another day without public scandal? I'm laughing out loud now, half in disbelief, half in gratitude, because this version of me, the one who used to worry about how things look, it's gone. And what's left is someone simple. Someone who can laugh at himself, eat cheese with a spoon, and still feel completely at home.
So these are the things I wasn't thinking I would do, but Camino doesn't really care who you were before. It only shows you who you are now, after all the expectations, ego, and comfort sheds away like layers. So, yes, I've become the tuna spooning, sock smelling, and the backpack talking pilgrim, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Planning to walk Camino de Santiago but worried you're missing something? Are you on a crossroads in life seeking clarity or a fresh start? What if you could capture every moment of the transformation along the way? I've walked more than 10,000 kilometers around the world, and in my preparation packing list there is one thing I never leave behind. This journal, The Journey Within. Every Camino has taught me valuable lessons about life's twists and changes. The Journey Within isn't just another journal. It asks the right questions just at the right time, guiding you through the tough parts of the Camino and helping you to see what really matters.
And it's not just my opinion. Thousands of fellow pilgrims have experienced its magic, as reflected in the brilliant reviews.
Camino is a one-in-a-lifetime experience. Make the most of every moment and get the journal now.